Welcome to the program, and there is the People's Bench. Thank you for watching from wherever you are. I'm your host, Fred Ogweno, and we are coming to you from Muturi Silver Springs Hotel here in Nairobi. A very nice place for you to come and relax. And for much more, please scan the QR code right on your screen. Tonight, we are looking at the impact of the by-election, and I'm privileged to have the straight shooter, Mwalimu Odoyo Owidi. Today he looks like a wounded lion. He did say that Boyd Were is not going to be the MP for Kasipul by all means. And today he is the MP. Mwalimu,
how are you, my brother?
I'm good.
You are good.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yes.
Tell me.
How did it go down there? You did say that he's not going to be Boyd Were. He is the MP for Kasipul.
Of course.
What happened?
Of course, I was speaking as UDA versus ODM. But then it is decided that ODM and UDA must go into this together as a broad-based government. And as a broad-based government, both the government and ODM were to support Boyd Were. And so those who belong to government plus those who belong to ODM were to vote for Boyd Were.
Did you vote for him?
Myself?
Yes.
No. I voted for Aroko.
And you did not just vote?
Because, see, we need to understand one thing. For me, I went into this thing knowing that Aroko even supports the broad-based government more than Boyd Were. Boyd Were was not supporting the government from his own. He was supporting the government because somebody told him, this is who we are supposed to support. So what I understood that in the event that these people walks out of government, Boyd Were will walk out with him. Aroko would not walk out with anyone if anyone walks out of government. But nevertheless, looking at the bigger picture, which I do understand, is that we, as the supporters of UDA, the president, and the broad-based government, we must look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is now ODM coming together as the bigger political entity in the region, rather than Aroko, who has more support by a smaller entity in the region. So that is something that all of us understood at the end of it. So there is no bitterness in this, because the winner is broad-based government, which we all support without conditions. I have told you here multiple times, even the so-called 10-point agenda that people have been talking about, the mythical 10-point agenda, is neither here nor there. We must support the president without any conditions from our region. Because you notice that what we would have put as conditions is already being done, even without the president seeking our support.
We are coming there, Mwalimu.
Yeah.
The deputy governor for Homa Bay, Gwanga Joseph, comes together with you. You are able to solidify a formidable force together with Obado, and all these people that you were on the ground shaking Kasipul. But one woman, Gladys Wanga, you could not bring her down, Mwalimu.
I think you are being dishonest by saying one woman, because you saw around her DP Kindeki, you saw around her Dr. Raymond Omolo, you saw around her Abdul Swamad, you saw around her Orengo, you saw around her Uburu, you saw around her every who is who in both government and ODM. So you cannot say that one woman. But one thing I have to give it to Gladys. Gladys is a person who understands politics, dreams, walks, and sleeps politics. You can't compare her to any other politician in Luoland. Look at some of the politicians in Luoland. The other day, Mbadi was saying that he was going to be, the only thing he can now go for is the presidency in 2032. How do you go for president 2032 when you walk alone like a snake? Gladys Wanga will never go to a function alone. There will be MPs around her. There will be MCS around her. There will be people with name recognition around her. You are invited as a CS to go and preside over a function in Migori, and you walk alone with your security and personal assistant, and you want to tell us you can be of any political significance in the region. You can't be.
But
Number two, something about politics that all these other politicians must remember. As a politician, you must spend, and spend bitterly, and spend properly. Even if you sell your house, your property, or steal, wherever you get the money. As a politician, the only way you come out a leader in any gathering is if you pay the bills. That only Gladys Wanga does in Luoland. Nobody else does it. And Raymond Omolo does it. The other people don't do it. So anybody thinking of kingpin, and you can't spend, kingpin, and you can't work with other leaders with name recognition, you're going nowhere.
Kingpin Malingumu.
Kingpin Maningilu doesn't exist. Kingpin Lona doesn't exist.
You say that Mbadi is walking alone like a snake. He doesn't want to spend money.
No, he's walking alone. First of all, he's walking alone, and if he has any conversation with anyone, give him a call, he won't even respond. He wouldn't even return it. And then he is talking about, let me tell you, he should learn from me. A lone voice, however coherent. A lone voice, however loud. A lone voice, however logical. A lone voice, however meaningful and well-meaning, goes nowhere.
Are you saying that you've been walking alone too, and you've come to a realization that you walk alone, you cannot have an impact?
I don't walk alone. You saw when I walked in Kasipul, I walked with Obado, I walked with Magwanga, I walked with Ogindo, and I can walk with many people. And I'm a person who has never held any proper seat. I know I cannot walk alone. It is only that I need to walk with other people. So this idea of thinking that you are a good public speaker, you are a good political orator, you have a big name recognition, so you can't be. Because politics is perception. Politics is a following. And when you win a political contest, you suddenly then get more people on your side because everybody wants to support a winning team. It does not matter how you win. That is why you see sometimes to win a political battle, you employ a little violence, you employ a little money, you employ a little propaganda, you employ a little coercion, and all those together. Once you have won, people forget all that, and the only thing they remain with is the win.
I hear you, Mwalimu. Before we wind up on this issue of Homa Bay, allow me to remind our viewers to kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel at The People's Bench so that anytime we have this kind of conversation, you'll be able to get the notification. Mwalimu, as we wind up on that issue of Homa Bay, that kind of formidable force that you are able to organize, Mwalimu, you shook Kasipul and people were able to see that it was a two-horse race, you know. How are you able to galvanize that?
I am generally very logical, so to bring leaders together, I can always do. I will always do that, and I know how to do it. The only unfortunate thing in this whole game, it requires a lot of resources. And even these leaders, you think the way they arrive at those functions is not easy. Somebody has to be a good friend, and has also to believe in you and also believe in your cause. That is the only thing I use. But now there are also other politicians who, besides those three I've mentioned, also have resources to boot. So if you want to tell, say, Abdul Swamad to come from Mombasa to attend a function in Nyanza, you say, Mheshimiwa, kuja unisaidie hii siasa siku hizi, nitatuma ndege. You get that other bit. Mheshimiwa, come and help me, we are fundraising on this day. I know now people are broke, but there's 50,000 here for you, ya kucontribute, na nitatuma mafuta. The people don't know that a key politician does that. And the moment you do that to a person, he arrives at that function knowing you are the leader and the boss. And people will see that body language while you are seated there. And they go home knowing so and so is the leader here. Even one thing that made President William Ruto the kingpin of this country, because he's no longer the kingpin of the region. He knows that when you are the leader, the bills are yours. That President William Ruto knows. And that one is what has taken him far. Because he came from behind as an underdog. In the Rift Valley, people like Gideon Moi were ahead, Biwott were ahead, all those people were ahead of him. But he knew how to play his game.
We are coming to William Mwalimu. Tell me, I hear you. You speak as if you are having some reconciliatory tone between you and Madam Gladys Wanga, the governor of Homa Bay. I'm not hearing you hitting hard as you are used to do. Are you likely to work together?
You remember, the issues have been hitting Gladys Wanga very hard are issues of governance in Homa Bay. They are not issues of how she plays her politics. How she plays her politics is correct. It may be wrong, but it is the correct way to get people behind you. I told you the things that you need to employ to get the people behind you. A little coercion, a little violence, a little money, a little propaganda, all those put together makes the juggernaut that takes people the other side. And let me tell you, do not think that if you are alone and on your own, anybody will come and talk to you. Everybody wants to be a wholesaler of people. So why would the president go and talk and negotiate with somebody who's alone and is leaving somebody here with a heap of people behind? That's how politics. And that Gladys knows more than these other ones. Even her former competitors, even her current competitors, they do not know that. Or if they know, they are unable to choose between money and political power. So they have chosen money over political power. Gladys has chosen political power over money. That is brilliance.
I hear you, Mwalimu. And what do you think about her influence in Nyanza region moving forward? Because some people thought that Gladys was only being held, by Mheshimiwa, the late Raila Amolo Odinga. But we've been able to see that she can stand on her own and do mightier things.
Of course, Raila Amolo Odinga held her hand and she's on top of the tree. She doesn't need any more hand holding. Ako juu sasa. Where would you go to after you become a governor? You still need a hand holding? No. But if her hand wasn't held in the beginning, she would not be here today.
And she's now on top to stay.
Yes. If I hold your hand to climb the tree and you're now on top of the tree, you don't need any more hand holding.
But Mwalimu Magwanga Oyugi, I was able to see Gladys breathing fire, saying that anybody who went against who campaigned against the ODM candidate, she's going to deal with them both in our government and outside.
I think whoever edited that video left out some very critical statement that made that thing lose context. Gladys was talking about Kanyada. And when she was talking, there's a man there called Upondo Kaluma who was seated, a man from Kanyada. There is somebody from Kanyada in her government who has been bad-mouthing her government. And I think she was preparing to fire that person. I don't know who that is. So if you listen to that video from the beginning, but the way it has been cut, it has left the information open. But again, Gladys has no powers to fire Magwanga. Only the assembly can impeach Magwanga. But assembly cannot impeach you on who you support politically or don't support. They can't. Because the reasons for impeachment are very clear in the Constitution. You cannot create your own. That I don't like this person because he chose to support so and so, so impeach him. But democracy is not about which political formation you are supporting. It is about which person you are supporting. That's democracy.
But it is also not lost on me, Mwalimu, that Gladys Wanga is the one who chairs the ODM Disciplinary Committee at the national level. It could be seen that Magwanga went against the party position by campaigning against Boyd Were, and they might use that to pinch him a little.
No, not again, because if Magwanga were to be blamed for supporting Aroko, Gladys must also be blamed for the nomination exercise that took place. So we can't talk about that. Even the party will not accept that somebody is being brought before them for disciplinary action for supporting for not supporting an ODM candidate who was clearly not nominated according to the party rules. No, that cannot happen.
Let's shift gears to the national politics, Mwalimu. They say that you belong to the same WhatsApp group with Rigathi Gachagua, that he lost in Mbeere and you equally lost in Kasipul. How true is that?
I don't think I should be taken as having lost Kasipul. First of all, I wasn't a candidate. Number two, I wasn't the only one supporting Aroko. Why are you not saying Aroko lost? He was the candidate.
But people are saying that Rigathi lost and Rigathi was not candidate in
That is
Mbeere
people
North.
saying. Me, I'm not saying Rigathi lost.
Politics is about the people.
But at least Rigathi is an owner of a political formation there. The political formation is United Opposition. And United Opposition lost. Me, I'm a member of what political formation that lost? Simply Odoyo Owidi supported Aroko, period. I am not even an MCA in the area. So what makes me take responsibility for the loss of Aroko in Kasipul? Of course, I understand. I have a big voice that even if I hold no position in the country, not in government, not in any political party, when they hear my voice, they still tremble. That I do know. But does that not make me the loser?
That influence that you are having, Mwalimu, anytime you speak, you make a post on social media, it is news. You know, you influence. Sometimes you see, within 30 seconds, Mwalimu, over 1,000 comments. You are not an ordinary person, Mwalimu.
But that still does not make me the loser in Kasipul. I am not the only one supporting Aroko. Aroko was an independent candidate. From where I sit, Aroko, I know him. We know each other. We have spoken. We have agreed that Aroko is a supporter of the broad-based government, but most of all, President William Ruto. And that is where he finds me. And again, why you find people supported Aroko is because of the way the nomination in ODM went, and also partly because of the divisive politics you sometimes find in ODM. ODM is a party where there are some people they just don't want. Whether you are the most popular, they don't want you because you present a possible competition to the leadership. That's how it is.
And with them having won the Magarini by-election MP, and as well as Kasipul Kabondo, it's like ODM is really even going to get stronger.
No, ODM is going to get stronger. And for me, it is a very, very good thing because they are in broad-based government. And let me also tell you one more thing. If it were not for the government of President William Ruto, ODM would have lost all those 3 seats. That I can tell you without flinching.
Including Kasipul.
Including Kasipul. So, it is the partnership with that. The day I entered Kasipul constituency and invited Magwanga and Obado to speak, you heard the way ODM cried. You heard the cry. So the only thing that is they are going to make this thing difficult for the president is their divisive nature of politics. Take, for example, the things they said as they went round the constituency celebrating were very unpalatable. It is like them alone, with their following, is enough to propel President William Ruto to the term 2. If they really wanted to help the president, they need to unite everyone in Luoland. They need to accept everyone to Luoland. They need to build internal fairness. Because look at the voting that took place. Aroko, let's not talk about Aroko. Let's take ODM versus their opponents. ODM beat their opponents combined with 3,000 votes, with a low turnout. Those people who did not vote, because the violence was being blamed on ODM, it means they were the people who feared ODM. What do you expect in 2027? So my advice to Gladys She has very beautiful politics, because that is the kind of politics that can take you far, not the politics of let me walk alone. And if she wanted to help the president, she must be very reconciliatory, bring everybody together, and say, we as the people of Luoland, we want to support President William Ruto. When she goes to party level, we as the political party ODM, we must welcome anyone who supports President William Ruto. And that is when they are going to help the president. But if she continues with the path of division, and the people she chooses to leave out decide to work together. You know, when I supported Aroko alone, it didn't make much noise. But the day I brought in Magwanga and Obado, it's exploded. What about if I brought 10 people? So, one of the things also we did not do them because we knew the government had shown where they are by bringing our own DP, our own PS on their campaign trail. The only reason why I walked a different path is because they had chosen that they don't want to hear my voice. Yet I knew Aroko is a supporter of the president and broad-based.
Thank you, Mwalimu. National politics, back to it again. What do you see ahead of 2027? UDA and ODM, call it broad-based faction, they were able to sweep a majority of those by-election positions. What can we read from this even as we are heading to 2027?
I can tell you one thing for free. Luoland is going to vote for President William Ruto to the last man. Because I know what is going on. You've seen in the social media, there are 1, 2, 3 people who are consistently anti-Ruto, whether you say something, even if you tell them that the project that President William Ruto is launching now, the Limuru-Rironi Road, will be a game changer for our people who are driving up country. They still want to criticize that. Why? That tells you they are induced to criticize. They have been paid to criticize. And they are on their own. Those are the walk-alones. When it comes to Migu Kumi na Mbili, the walk-alones are swallowed with the walk-togethers. And they are inconsequential. I know there's a lot of money being paid to certain personalities and bloggers in Luoland to keep on attacking the president, the government, and what he does.
By who?
By the detractors of the president. I know by who the question would come. And when you hear me say they would do this to the president, there is the united opposition.
I hear you, Mwalimu. The united oppositions were not able to show their unity and their impact and their weight in this by-election. Look, Rigiji is beaten in Mbere, whether he did not stand, whether his name was not in the ballot or not, but again, he was supporting a candidate there. He camped there, Mwalimu, door-to-door campaign on a daily basis.
And the beating is not entirely that he supported another candidate in Mbere. Being beaten is because of the things he said countdown to the election. He said on 27th night, President William Ruto will know what the people of Mbere is. Rigiji even went ahead to say things that are even unpalatable, that the president and his people said they will be in a chopper peeing over the people of Mbere. He went overboard and outboard to say some of the most unthinkable things about the person of the president. But where the president beats them all, he ignores you like you don't exist. And you keep on saying it, and in the end, it is what you say that tethers you to the crucifixion tree.
But look at the amount of public resources that they were able to use. You know,
which public resources?
We were able to see Professor Kindiki camping there. He was using government vehicles.
So Kindiki is a public resource.
Kindiki, when he's there, Mwalimu, he uses public vehicles.
The same way he would use if he was elsewhere in the country. You see, there's something I need to tell you. The fact that I work for government and I am in Kericho doing something doesn't mean I am using public resources to campaign, because even if I wasn't in Kericho, I was in Mombasa, I would still be using those public resources to keep me in Mombasa. Even if I was in Nyeri, I would be using the same public resources to. So is it the location of Kindiki at that time that makes you think
campaigning?
He was using public resources.
Campaigning.
Campaigning is not a spending of money. It's using a microphone and talking to the people. What do you mean campaigning? Kindiki would not sit at home even if there was no campaign in Mbere. He would be somewhere doing something. So this time he chooses to be in Mbere doing that campaign. So you may find his daily expenditure would still remain the same.
Let me ask it there, Mwalimu, that the government or the broad-based government, UDA, won Mbere North constituency, but at what cost?
At the cost of campaigning there daily. You see, what was happening in Mbere is very interesting. If the opposition was campaigning there daily until Rigiji is walking into people's kitchens and cooking for them tea and serving them, did you expect Kindiki to go and sleep at his home when his opponents are on the ground campaigning? So each and every person used that massive resources to campaign in Mbere. So it is tit for tat, 0-0.
But some are using their own, others are using our taxes there, Mwalimu,
I want you to tell
keep them there. We must hold them accountable. We cannot use public resources, Mwalimu, to campaign. And that is why the constitution is very clear about state officers, using their influence.
After you have said so, you have no evidence at all that Kindiki was withdrawing money from public coffers to campaign, because this is a person who moves around the country with or without campaigns. He meets people with or without campaigns. Why suddenly, because now he was meeting people on a campaign trail, now he's using public resources? I do not understand. Nobody has evidence that he was using public resources in that campaign.
Neither do you have evidence that he was using his personal money.
Yeah, so the assumption is people use their personal money, because if you go to the records, probably if one day the Auditor General brings a report, there will be nothing in that Auditor General's report that this was public money. This thing of feeding the public, that whenever public officer is out doing anything, it is public money. Doing politics, it is public money. These public officers are also paid. And they are also given vehicles to use wherever they are going. So why are we saying that they are using public resources?
Natembea, amemtembelea Wetangula sawa, amemsakama, karibu anamnyonga. Western.
I think the battle between Wetangula and Natembea is something they will deal with in their region there. But you see, remember also Wetangula is somebody on the ground, working on the ground. It's on the ground daily. Wetangula works in Nairobi. So for a small seat like, say, the MCA, it would be very difficult to compete with somebody who is in the ground 24/7, 365. Nobody is going to beat President William Ruto. I think anybody dreaming that they are going to beat President William Ruto in 2027 is having a bad dream. He needs to wake up and go and look for a witch doctor to exercise such dreams. Yes.
You can't say that when Gen Zs are still waiting for him.
I have told you on this desk before that Gen Zs are first loyal to the political formations in their region. They are first loyal to their communities before they are loyal to their generation. And you saw it in the elections that took place. Where did the Gen Z go in Mbere? Are they the majority? Where did the Gen Z go in Malava and the majority? Do not threaten anybody with Gen Zs. The other day, I went to a media house in this country, and one of the hosts was telling me, Owidi, Gen Zs are listening to you. Gen Zs are listening. I told them, yes, they are listening. I have Gen Zs in my house, 3 of them, and they will vote where I vote. And many other people like me also have them across the country. They are first loyal to their community and the dominant political formations in those communities before they are loyal to their generation. And let me tell you, these Gen Zs that you people have been captured with thinking that they are a political movement on their own, is all fake. Some people organize the Gen Zs in their own regions and think that their region is the whole of Kenya. The Gen Zs that caused mayhem in the city of Nairobi were organized by the Rigiji axis. Once they were organized, the other Gen Zs joined thinking this is their own Gen Z political movement. But as time went on, they kept on discovering that this thing we are being told has no leadership, Kumbe has very serious leadership. It is us who are kept in the dark. Kumbe, this thing that we are told has no tribe, has a very serious tribe. It is us who are being kept in the dark. Kumbe, this thing that we are being told has no political affiliation, has serious political affiliation, but it is us, Gen Zs from other communities, who are being kept in the dark. So they have worked out pole pole. And if Gen Zs was its own political movement, the standing of ODM leader next to President William Ruto would have not stopped them. Why did they stop? They stopped because the Gen Zs that are allied to ODM realized they were being duped. So do not even talk about, instead of saying Gen Zs will tilt the scale, say ODM will tilt the scale. Say Maendeleo Chap will tilt the scale. Say the people of Nyanza will tilt the scale. Say the people of Magarini will tilt the scale. But do not look as Gen Zs as a serious political formation that is homogeneous, that will tilt the scale. They are not homogeneous.
They say they are tribeless, they are partyless.
They say, but they are not.
Tell me, Mwalimu, as we are winding up, Justin Muturi, the former speaker, it seems like President William Ruto multiplied him by 0. It was his own home turf, his candidate, beaten at home. And he's being beaten when he's even gotten out of government. He had all the time to campaign.
Muturi is the most dishonest person I ever came across in this one.
Oh, you can't say that.
He was Speaker of the National Assembly for 10 years during Uhuru. It is during Uhuru that the worst laws were passed in Parliament, including one that prohibited you from selling unprocessed milk. And he's presided over it. Muturi presided over Parliament when a law was being passed weeks to the general elections. So Muturi is not somebody who can come and tell Kenyans about nationalism, tell Kenyans about how Ruto is bad. He's not having that moral authority to do so. He came here telling us how his son was abducted. Anybody listening would think it is some 25-year-old son, some 30-year-old son. A 42-year-old, as old as Ruto when Ruto was a minister. You are telling us, I'm his father, he was abducted. It is like Oburu saying he's an orphan. Of course, it is a joke.
You didn't see how he was protecting his votes in Mbere North?
Who?
Justin Muturi.
And then?
Almost went physical.
Because
protecting his vote,
he's disillusioned. He doesn't even know himself. Ajijui, angejijua, angenyamasa kuje kwa Ruto aseme, Your Excellency, I think this tribal chauvinism we have displayed in Kenya is not going to work for the future of this country. Let's all of us, people from the mountain and beyond, support you. In future, you support another person from another corner of the country so that we have a country in which all resources, including leadership positions, are shared equally and equitably. This is the country where we had, when Kenyatta One was the president, the first ever dual carriageway was built from Nairobi towards Central Province through Thika. When Kibaki returned, the first ever superhighway was built on Thika Highway towards Central Province. So people have told me, oh, you talk tribalism and we don't have tribalism. We have a lot of it. Kenya is so tribal that if we don't confront tribalism by name and sit down together and talk about it and tell the rest of Kenya, the Kikuyus have been president for this length of time, the Kalenjin have been there for this length of time, let them complete and leave it to another community. In the future, it may explode. The only reason why it is not exploding so early, these people who have been the president before have a lot of resources and they can buy certain leaders and keep in their camps. And so people think things are normal. What happened to President William Ruto starting June last year is something that happened because there is one family in this country which amassed so much wealth and they can use it to establish a government that they don't like. And let me tell you, I think the most dishonest person I also met is Uhuru Kenyatta. Why do I say so? Uhuru Kenyatta was in ODM at one point in time. When we approached the 2013 general election, they held a meeting in Limuru called Limuru 2, in which they decided that even though Raila deserved to take after Kibaki, they will not accept it, and Uhuru will be the one to take it. And Uhuru jumped out and started supporting Kibaki, a man from his community. Kibaki, also a person who was lifted by Raila Odinga and made president, decided to back his clansman Uhuru Kenyatta. And you come and tell me there is no tribalism in Kenya?
Where is Mama, Martha Karua? We are not seeing her. We did not see a campaign for any candidate. Mama ako wapi?
I don't know where Martha Karua is, but Martha Karua is a person who easily jumps ship when you offend her. Kidogo tu, ameruka, kidogo tu. Martha Karua, you remember, walked out on Moi at one time, walked down on Kibaki, resigned from Kibaki's government, and such things. Ever tantrums. Martha Karua is the person who once hit Raila Odinga with her handbag inside parliament. So, Martha Karua has extreme personalities. So, forget about her. Whether she was there or not, maybe somebody had already offended her.
You're parting short in 30 seconds, Mwalimu. The lessons that we've learned.
I keep on telling Kenyans that Kenya belongs to all of us, and we must share all its resources, including leadership positions, equally. But one thing that I want to say here today, to go on record, there were people who were very politically active during President Daniel Arap Moi. They were political activists as opponents of the then government. They included Kabanda wa Kabando, Paul Muite, Martha Karua, Timothy Njoya, and many of them. But when Kibaki came to power, they all went silent despite continuation of atrocities against other communities by the then government. When Uhuru came to power, despite a lot of misgivings about his leadership, they all went quiet and remained quiet until now. SGR was built, they remained quiet. Expressway was built, they remained quiet. People were cheated that the port in Kisumu was being rehabilitated. It wasn't, they kept quiet. Uhuru promised the Big Four agenda, which did take off, they kept quiet. As soon as President William Ruto took over, Kabanda wa Kabando is very bitterly criticizing President William Ruto. Paul Muite is on a daily basis throwing barbs at President William Ruto. Njoya recently talked very badly about President William Ruto. It is tribalism, let's say it by name. Kenya belongs to all of us. These people were quiet when one of their own was in power. When he gets out, they are out making noise against the rest of the country. Even the unity that used to exist in the Episcopal Conference of Churches, in the Catholics, has suddenly returned. They are now talking. Bishops are now talking because the person in power is not one of their own. And they have resources. They are capable of whipping one or two people, not from their community, lying to them, and then they join in. So the truth of the matter is Kenya is tribal. If we don't sit down to discuss tribalism, we are busy to discuss other non-issues, we are going to destroy ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mwalimu. And with that, we come to the end of our conversation tonight. His name is Mwalimu Odoyo Owidi. He says it the way it is. You love him, you hate him. He is consistent, saying that our problem is tribalism. It is time we fixed it or we regret later. Thank you so much for watching. We've been coming to you from Muturi Silver Springs Hotel here in Nairobi. A very wonderful place for the festivities, for the holiday season that we are entering into. You can come with your family. Come and relax. Come and enjoy. And for more, please do not forget to scan the QR code right on your screen. Bye-bye and see you next time. Thank you so much, Mwalimu. That was candid.
Thank you, my brother.
Asante sana. We do it again.
Karibu.
Asante.